Bitcoin and Cardano seeing upside in the last couple of weeks. Is it enough reason to confirm the bullish reversal, or is there reason to be concerned for more downside? In this video, we're going to break down the charts and we're going to talk about it. What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Thank you for cruising by. This is a Bitcoin Cardano video. I really want to just talk about the state of the markets. I want to look at the charts. I want to just throw out there what I'm being prepared for and the data that I think lends itself to helping us to be prepared for what is about to happen. And that could be upside or downside. So let's dive into the charts. This is Bitcoin on the daily. I think it just paints a good picture. I've realized that there's just some uptrend happening, right? And it's pretty nice uptrend. If you look at the price range perspective, we're looking at around 40, or I'm sorry, not yet at least. We're looking at about 25% gains for Bitcoin. I want to leave this here because I want to talk about this in a couple minutes. So nice gains for Bitcoin and markets kind of like starting, sentiment getting a little bit bullish, a little bit hopeful, I guess you could say. But there's still a lot that Bitcoin has to contest with, and we want to wait for these bullish confirmations to play out, right? So right now, immediately, and very visibly on this chart, the 50-day moving average, Bitcoin there right now, right around $42,000 to $43,000, right around $42,800. Bitcoin contesting with that area. It's broken above the 20-day. That is a good thing. But more so, I want to zoom out on this daily chart. And I just want to remind us of this head and shoulders that we've discussed before. Many people might disagree with how ugly the head and shoulders is, but for me, if I see the story being told on the chart, even if the pattern doesn't look perfectly symmetrical, it's enough for me, right? And the story, and you hear me say it a lot with head and shoulders, the bulls stepping in, bears pulling to the neckline, bears stepping in stronger, bulls stepping in stronger, bears pulling it back to the neckline, bulls stepping in, not as strong again, right shoulder, bears bringing it back to the neckline, and then below. Now, what's happened and what is potentially happening right now is the pullback to the neckline. We see this all the time in these patterns. Based off of Bulkowski on the patternsite.com, I use so much of his data. A pullback rate on this head and shoulders would be 66% of the time. It's not guaranteed, but that's his data, and I apply it to these charts, and so often they hold true. It holds consistent. And so the pullback is basically a break to the downside below the neckline and a pullback to the neckline, right? And then from that area, we have to really watch from a technical charting perspective, what happens? Do we get the bullish confirmation break above, or does it fail and we get the bearish confirmation, a more conservative bearish confirmation, meaning a lot of people might short something right here, but a lot of people might wait for the pullback before shorting if there's resistance there, right? So that's the more conservative approach, just waiting more patiently for the bears to prove themselves. So this is Bitcoin. So again, 50-day moving average around 42,800, all the way up to the neckline around $48,000. A lot of resistance all in here, right? And that's around a 13% range of resistance that Bitcoin is. And this could be a lower high in a continued downtrend. Be careful of that. Don't get too, I feel like we can't get too bullish when we get these moves to the upside, because that is crypto. Same to the downside. We can't get too bearish when they happen, but we have to really wait for confirmation. So that's what we'll be waiting for. And if we go over to the weekly chart on Bitcoin, just something I want to note. We've tracked the Fibonacci, which is the swing low back here in July to swing high, all-time high, back to the Fibonacci. This could be the cause for being optimistically or cautiously optimistic, right, in regards to Bitcoin, because we could be putting in a higher low right here from the swing low back here. And that's an important point to make, right? Bitcoin could be very well in a macro uptrend, a continued uptrend. So you want to be prepared for that as well. Now, I do want to note on this daily chart, if Bitcoin, and we're about to get to Cardano, if Bitcoin makes its move to the downside, $29,000 is that next leg down target. If there's resistance all up in here at this resistance area, something to be prepared for. Let's pivot over to Cardano, because Cardano grappling with its own or approaching its own type of resistance. a reason to be cautiously optimistic for Cardano. Historically, on crypto charts, when you have this much downside, this much red, this is a monthly, 5 months red. A lot of people might take that as a signal that Cardano is weak, but listen, every crypto has its downtrends. They all look different, they all act a little different, but one thing remains true. They're volatile, and at the end of the day, eventually, the bottom is marked in, and then the crypto makes a very nice bullish reversal. And there's no guarantees that it will happen with Cardano. However, I'm quite sure it will. And this is just based on my opinion. This isn't financial advice. This is based on historical data on all crypto charts, including Cardano. You open up the RSI, even on the monthly, we're at levels that Cardano has been in bear market lows and just capitulation type of lows. That's where Cardano is, and it's potentially could hang out in this area for a little bit more, a little bit longer. There's downside targets for sure, but the opportunity, if you truly have the right approach to crypto, which in my opinion is buying the fear, and not getting, held up in emotion and the emotion of it all, buying the uncertainty at these oversold levels. And if you can hang on the long term, Cardano is one of the best opportunities in crypto right now. It just on the charts is. And you all know I'm very bullish on Cardano. So putting even that aside, if you look at the charts alone, Cardano is just one of those charts that you're going to look back on in 5 years or something from now, and you're going to be like, wow, that Cardano was so cheap back then. But time will tell if that holds true or not. Going to the weekly chart, important to note the bearish signal here, right? It's a 20-week moving average crossing below the 50-week moving average, that green line below the blue line. After this downtrend happened and Cardano really didn't get a huge strong bounce to the upside, it was almost guaranteed it's going to happen that we get this. There is such a case that Cardano could very much level out, and it's very short-lived, and the 20-week moving average comes back above. But there are things on the shorter term charts we need to just take note of, and we have to just be patient for this to play out. Cardano continuing to consolidate at these bearish RSI territories, like the bear market low territories, right? Bear market low all the way back here, November, December 2018. Cardano there again. All of these swing lows Cardano has seen, same area on this RSI. For me, that is a macro bullish signal. That is an opportunity signal, and I'm going to continue to talk about that. But now we start talking about, all right, can Cardano make the move to the upside to turn the ship around? And for Cardano, it's very similar to what we were just looking at for Bitcoin, revisiting a lower trendline area that we've been tracking on Cardano, and Cardano getting a pullback potentially to that area. Right around, I think, 10% away from that area. Going back to Bitcoin on the daily chart, remember, if we look at where Bitcoin is, and it's very messy, but a Bitcoin pullback to that head and shoulders trend line right here is around 10 to 13%. So we could see potentially Bitcoin and Cardano getting a pullback to these resistance areas, but the bulls really need to break above those areas for there to be some bullish confirmation. So we wait patiently and unemotionally. And on the daily chart, this is what it looks like for Cardano. Confluent with that lower trend line pretty much is the 50-day moving average, around $1.23. Cardano a 10-cent move away from potentially testing once again this moving average that it is just grappled with all the way down. A couple times kind of getting a fake out move, but seeing no support above that blue line, right? No support above when retesting. And oftentimes, I would say most often, you see a crypto break the 50-day moving average, that blue line, and it does come back down. But in a bullish environment, we get that bullish confirmation, it bounces off of it and continues to the upside. We have not gotten it yet for Cardano, and I'm just sitting around just like you, waiting. Is it going to happen, right? So if we're in this pullback to the lower trend line, potentially breaking that 50-day moving average, we could get another chance at it to see if Cardano can do it. Bringing it all together on the short term, if we get that pullback for Cardano, there's that lower trend line that we were just looking at on the macro. It kind of could stem from the symmetrical triangle that we've been talking about, breakout target to the upside, right around $1.30, $1.35. But you can see Cardano breaking out, revisiting this small, and it's a pretty small symmetrical triangle, and potentially getting the move to the upside now. But It's not very overextended from this upper trend line, so we're going to continue tracking this. We have targets to the upside, everyone. It's all that matters. We have targets to the downside. That's all that matters. The key to the game is understanding, yes, this could go one way or another, to the upside or to the downside on the short term. It's no secret, and it doesn't even really take too much technical analysis to find the targets and to be ready for those targets. But the key to it is to take those targets and start zooming out on the charts and start understanding how the short-term volatility of it all helps us to prepare for the macro opportunity that just is right before us. And this is what I'll continue to approach crypto markets in this sense. I've been doing these crypto videos for since the beginning of the last bear market, right? We're going to be going on 4 years here soon, these videos. And the one thing that I can always say that remains consistent is if you zoom out on the charts and you start recognizing when there's so much fear is when there's probably the most opportunity, we can really make the best decisions in crypto and the best decisions for our portfolios. Everybody's portfolio is different. Mine is different than yours. My plans are different from yours. So kind of take the data, be ready for all the scenarios, and make your own decisions based on all the targets, the upside, the downside. Wait for the confirmations that we just discussed, bullish, bearish, whatever. But either way, right now, Bitcoin and Cardano are still in these midterm downtrends, and we have to be very careful with that. So appreciate you all. Have an awesome week as we get this week started. Hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Hit that like button on the way out. It means a lot. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.